My name is Kristen Sostowski. I'm a director at Gibbons PC in Newark, New Jersey, and NAWL's incoming vice president. Each year, NAWL presents the M. Ashley Dickerson Award to a lawyer who's demonstrated throughout her career a commitment to promoting diversity within our profession. This award is named after NAWL's first African-American president, M. Ashley Dickerson, who was the first African-American woman admitted to the bar in her home state of Alabama, the second woman admitted to African-American woman admitted in Indiana, and the first Black attorney in Alaska. Throughout her career, Dickerson inspired other women and people of color to join and thrive in the legal profession, just like this year's honoree, the Honorable Wilhelmina Wright. Judge Wright's commitment to diversity and equal justice under the law dates back to her childhood. She grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, where her mother had to challenge the school district there to ensure that her children could attend desegregated public schools. Judge Wright went on to graduate from Yale and from Harvard Law School, inspired to pursue a legal career by her role models, including Constance Baker Motley and Thurgood Marshall. After law school, Judge Wright clerked for Judge Damon Keith on the Sixth Circuit, and then went on to practice at Hogan & Hartson in Washington, D.C., before serving as an assistant U.S. attorney in Minnesota. She began her judicial career, amazingly, at the age of 36, with her appointment to the Ramsey County District Court, and then was elevated twice in the Minnesota state court system, first to the Minnesota Court of Appeals, and then 10 years later to the Minnesota Supreme Court, where she was the first African-American woman to serve on that court. Last January marked another first for Judge Wright. She was appointed by President Obama and confirmed as a U.S. district judge, becoming the first African-American woman to serve on the federal bench in Minnesota. Judge Wright has served in the leadership of numerous organizations throughout her career, including for many years in Minnesota Women Lawyers, and she's been recognized repeatedly for her contributions both to the profession and to the community more broadly. Now, in preparing for my remarks today, I was fortunate to speak with several of Judge Wright's colleagues from Minnesota to obtain a fuller picture of her career. And what they told me consistently was that Judge Wright is most deserving of this award because she embodies its ideals every day in her work, in the way that she hears and considers diverse opinions, in the respect and decency and kindness that she shows to the litigants in her courtroom, and most critically, because of her deep understanding of the impact that the law has on real people, often at their most vulnerable hour when they're appearing before her. Judge Wright, in your career as a public servant and as a judge, you followed in the path of civil rights champions and jurists who led you to the law and have blazed an ever wider trail for those who follow behind you, inspiring others, particularly women and diverse attorneys, to aspire to leadership roles in the law. It's my pleasure, on behalf of NAWL, to present you the M. Ashley Dickerson Award and to thank you for your commitment to advancing diversity in our profession.
I'm so honored to be here and feel so moved by the introduction and the kind words that have been said about me. Thank you to the National Association of Women Lawyers for honoring me with the M. Ashley Dickerson Award. I'm deeply moved by this recognition, and I'm inspired to go forth and earn it. I love our profession and have such regard for the positive contributions that lawyers make to our community. Visionary, resilient, intelligent, fearless. The legacy of M. Ashley Dickerson requires us to look at our realities, to celebrate our progress, and identify those injustices that remain for us to eliminate. In the state of Alabama, where she grew up, state parks, city parks, public schools, universities, swimming pools, beaches, restaurants, police forces are just some of the institutions that were racially segregated in her youth and are no longer today because of the tireless pursuit of justice. As a lawyer and champion for civil rights, Ashley Dickerson fought racial discrimination, astutely using both the power of the courts and the power of direct action. In celebrating her legacy today, we are challenged to look around at our profession, our institutions, our society, to identify who is not present, who faces legal and social barriers to full participation in society, who doesn't have a seat at the table. And after doing so, we must renew our commitment to opening the door of opportunity and making a place for others. As women, as lawyers, as a community, we are all challenged to lift as we climb, first envisioning a society that reflects the highest aspirations of equal opportunity and participation, and then working to make that a reality. Admittedly, the challenge at times is daunting. What is remarkable about Ashley Dickerson and her enduring legacy is that she climbed so that others could lift. Consider, if you will, what life looked like through the eyes of Ashley Dickerson, who was a child of the Jim Crow era, but had the audacity to envision freedom and equality for herself and her children. It's that vision, the ability to see what should be, that Ms. Dickerson put to work in service to others. And it is that kind of vision that we are challenged to employ as we honor her legacy. As we do so, let us also be willing to examine the realities of our society, identify the needs, and courageously pursue a positive change, even against daunting odds. Every place we occupy, whether it is the courtroom, the boardroom, the classroom, the office, or our home, that place is transformed by our presence. And when I enter those places, often feeling the weight of my responsibility, I am buoyed by the life and legacy of Ashley Dickerson. As an advocate, she enlivened the promise of equality, both using the tools of our justice system to advocate for the poor and the underprivileged of all races, and gain equal pay for women and people of color, even as she faced racial and gender discrimination in her professional and personal life. She helped clear the way and smooth the path for all of us as we enter, advise, guide, comfort, educate, lead, and inspire. We too must lift as we climb. When I arrived at law school, I didn't know a single lawyer, but I was inspired by the legal heroes and the legal sheroes of the civil rights movement and the civil rights era, who used the justice system as a means to secure fair treatment for individuals and groups, and to use the law as a tool of empowerment and positive change. By their example, lawyers like Ashley Dickerson have shown what an unbroken spirit and a keen intellect can achieve, even when the doors of opportunity are initially closed or only menial jobs are offered. Rather than being angry or despondent, they were inspired. We are challenged to look around our profession and our institutions and acknowledge who is not present, identify them, who is almost invisible, who faces legal and social barriers to full participation in society. After doing so, we are challenged to commit at least a part of our busy lives to opening the door of opportunity to others. Growing up in Virginia on Sundays, we sang a spiritual that informs my life. I share this with you here because it speaks to our vocation in the law. This refrain of the song is, "If I can help somebody along this journey, then my living will not be in vain." We're challenged to envision a society that reflects the highest aspirations of equal opportunity and participation, and then to work hard, sacrifice, struggle to make that vision the reality. Admittedly, the challenge at times is nothing short of awesome. But consider, if you will, what I often think about when I'm facing a daunting challenge. I consider what life looked like through the eyes of a second or third generation slave in the early history of America. A woman of faith who never experienced freedom or equality, but a woman who nevertheless had the audacity to envision freedom and equality for herself and her children. It is that kind of vision that we are challenged to employ, the willingness to examine the realities of our society, identify the needs, and courageously pursue the positive change that we envision, even against daunting odds, even when it requires hope in the unseen. So for this immense honor, I thank the National Association of Women Lawyers, the members of the awards committee, many of whom I admire and aspire to emulate, both on and off the bench. And I also wish to recognize and thank others who are responsible for me receiving this award, and they are my family. My family is represented here by my brother, William Wright. My judicial family also, I thank, and my colleagues, past and present, along with the many teachers and mentors in the legal profession. And all, thank you, National Association of Women Lawyers, for such a tremendous honor. I promise I will go forth and earn it. Thank you. Thank you.